Welcome in to Trust the Process Live. As always, I'm your host, James Harden, with my guys, Mr. Five Digits, Max Coolish. He may have added a couple. He may have taken off a few. I guess the only way you will know is if you stick around to Five Out. Max Coolish, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing tonight, buddy? How you doing?
Good. My man, Doc, Locke, Josh, Saffron, how are you?
Man, good. You know, don't have a team in the conference championship, JJ, but I'm still doing good.
I'm getting a little bit more used to the Doc Locke thing, so don't.
I like it. It sounded smooth too. When you said it just now, Banners, it sounded real smooth.
I'm trying here with the inflections, but my man who just commented on my inflections, the YG young gentleman himself, James Jackson, how are you? Love it.
Fire them cannons all over the field, baby.
I love it. Well, gentlemen, I think I have a T-shirt saying this somewhere, and it's a good T-shirt. It might not fit anymore as I have gained more than the COVID-19, but the T-shirt says, "We all we got, we all we need." And that seems very befitting for the city of Philadelphia. Now, if you don't get what we mean, that means you got to stick around and find out because, well, we all we got, we all we need. You know what I mean? So that being said, we are going to jump right into our main event. And our main event this week is going to be called Contending or Pretending. Now, I guess we're going to find out whether or not the Sixers are contending or pretending because it's a big question and it needs a big answer. All right. Mm-hmm. So the first question, and this is a big one. It was the biggest news of the week, probably by far. Now, JJ, I'm going to come to you first, man. James Harden was traded last week. He's not playing in Philadelphia. Now, he was traded in the Eastern Conference to the Brooklyn, not New Jersey, not New York, not Brooklyn, or no, it is Brooklyn, not Queens, not Harlem, the Brooklyn Nets. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on the 76ers not trading for James Harden? So, do the Sixers miss out? Is that that's my question.
Yeah, well, my first initial thought is they did miss out because they tried. A lot of people had this conception that the Sixers pulled out or didn't try to do it. It was actually the other way around. There was a deal in place before the Nets had a deal in place that was going to send James Harden to the Sixers, is going to send Ben Simmons, Tyrese Maxey, and some change to the Houston Rockets. The Sixers thought they had a deal in principle, and then the Rockets GM called Daryl Morey back and upped their offer, and then Daryl Morey pulled out. But for all intents and purposes, I mean, Ben Simmons and Tyrese Maxey, both of their agents came to them and said, expect a trade, like expect to be moved to Houston. So the Sixers tried to do this. So from that standpoint, they absolutely missed out. They missed out on getting the number 2 running mate or getting the number 1 for Joel Embiid to be the number 2 running mate on a championship team. Let's just be quite frank here. Ben Simmons has yet to score 20-plus points in a game this season. Ben Simmons does a lot of things well on the basketball court that's going to help a championship team. But to be the second best player and to not have one game out of damn near 20 that have a 20-plus per game scoring, like have a 20-plus scoring output, that's not what a number 2 running mate looks like. That's not what a second option on offense looks like. Your second best player has to be able to carry a better offensive load. And I think the Sixers realized that and went to go get one. And they missed out on the James Harden sweepstakes. They were in it. They were one of 2 teams left, and they missed out. They swung and missed. Now, it doesn't mean their season's over, and it's not the end of the world that they didn't get it. But they absolutely missed out on the James Harden sweepstakes because they wanted him. They wanted that whole field. They wanted what James Harden brings, something that Ben Simmons doesn't, and they were investing in that, and they didn't get it. So, yeah, absolutely, they missed out.
Oh, okay. All right, Josh, did we miss out, or tell me what's going on?
I mean, yeah, it's hard. I'm not going to say no, they didn't miss out. If you have a chance to get Harden, like JJ said, they missed out on the sweepstakes. But I think it's more important that we focus on what cost. And, you know, I really wanted to get James Harden. I was very pro James Harden. But after I saw what the Nets dealt to get Harden, I have to say I feel content and I can sleep easy at night knowing that he's not on this team after seeing how much it took to get Harden. And I think Sixers fans should know that they couldn't have matched that. Like, I just don't think there was any way you could have matched that trade. The Nets are owned by the Rockets until 2028. And basically, in my eyes, at least, the Nets have this year and they have the next year to win the finals. And if that doesn't happen, they're going to be like the Nets.
You're right, Josh. You're right. They sold out to do that. And I don't think the Sixers would have been wrong if they tried to as well. That's
Right.
I guess my end game here is just did they miss out? Yeah, for sure. But I would not have done that trade for the price that the Nets paid.
We agree. Well, one thing I don't know for sure, and Max, I got 2 out of 3 opinions, but yours is what's going to put me over the top. All right.
Okay.
Did we miss out?
I mean, look, the dude is an MVP. Dude's one of the top 5 best players in the league, right? I think we can more or less agree on that. Maybe slide him somewhere down to 7 or 8 if you're really particular about certain things. But, for my money, I'll take James Harden over anybody who isn't LeBron, a healthy Kevin Durant,
and AD.
Giannis, and probably Anthony Davis. Yeah. So right around there. I'm sure there's other people who will say, take Steph Curry over him. Fair argument. You take I'm not going to go too far down the path, but I'm sure the point is you can make other arguments for guys at 5, but he's certainly in the conversation.
All right. Well, another.
That being said, James Harden is at this point. Go ahead.
No. Keep going. I cut you
I
off.
was going to say at this point, it is pretty frustrating at Ben Simmons' seeming lack of willingness to score. At least he's trying to shoot threes, I guess. Like any other season, I would have been happy with that, but this season he looks so disinterested in being active in terms of scoring the ball in offense. Like if you're any kind of a decent player, scoring 10 points should be the easiest part of a triple double to you. And at this point, it's could you expect Draymond Green to be the second superstar on a championship caliber team? Like no, and that's kind of the path that Ben Simmons is heading down pretty fast. Like as take that as you will, but I don't really think I'm wrong in saying that.
Max, I think you're exactly right. I think you are spot on with saying Ben Simmons is playing more like Draymond Green. Draymond Green with on the
that's
championship.
Not a slight, but that's not a guy you need. That's not the guy who you can't expect to be the second best player on your team.
Exactly. 100%. 100% agree.
I'd say
100% agree.
It's a slight if we're
10 and 10 triple doubles are nice, but Draymond Green on any of the championship Warriors teams, was he ever the second best player?
No.
And I think
Damn sometimes was the 4th option on offense. That's what Ben Simmons is playing like, not the second best player.
And I think that's the reason why people could take it as a slight, because that's not what he's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Draymond Green for Draymond Green for him to be that.
At this point what he is. He's at least his first 2 years in the league, like at least I could rely on him to score 10 to 14. And I just on the fact that he can just get to the rim. He literally can get to the rim at will if there's any sort of space there. Like if you're 6 seconds on the shot clock, maybe not, but any kind of that initial transition into offense, like not full fast break, but maybe before everybody's set and ready to go, not off a made basket kind of thing.
Right. And Draymond Green wasn't supposed to be that. Draymond Green wasn't supposed to be a triple double machine. So Draymond Green exceeded expectations, and Ben Simmons is
coming down.
Coming down very sharply now.
His stock's dropping.
I don't know for sure whether or not the Sixers missed out. Nobody pushed me over the top right there with their thoughts. But one thing I do know,
I want to finish really quick. I just want to finish off and say one thing. I am going to say I'm glad the Sixers didn't do this trade, because personally, I just didn't feel like this roster with James Harden minus Simmons and Maxey and such an uncertain future. I don't know, that didn't feel convincing enough for me to get that over the top. And I'll be honest, I don't know what James Harden did. I don't know what that 12-hour diet he did from Houston to Brooklyn. To
he was doing something.
But I'm not gonna lie. Seeing him early on in the season, he looked a little pudgy. I was not really loving the idea of trading.
He was playing around. He was playing around with the Nets. He had to have an extra warm-up shirt or something on. Like he was doing stuff.
That's what I'm thinking too. But it wasn't just that one picture, not the really famous bad one, but I don't know. He looked lethargic. He
made it. He had to have made himself bloated. He had to have made himself bloated, because literally 48 hours later,
maybe he chugged a soda right before.
I'm not sure, but Max, that's where I will agree is the price tag. Josh, you said it too. The price tag is what made it too much. But if you're talking about getting James Harden and giving up Ben Simmons, I think every Sixers fan should at this point have been willing to do that. Now, the ancillaries is what made it bad. The Maxey plus Tybalt plus picks is like that. That's too much. That's too much, because now you're mortgaging your entire future. But the people who are unwilling to do it because Ben Simmons was attached to it, They got to let that go. You got to let that
that's a
absolutely
different
go.
story.
I mean,
So
for me,
that brings up a good point. Like I was saying, the one thing I do know is the Nets won't be able to stop anybody. I mean, there's nobody on that team to guard. I mean, Jared Allen was your only defense against Joel Embiid. So, hey, you know what? The game's changing, and now you're supposed to outscore
who guards
everybody.
James
But
Harden?
I do know the Nets are not going. Hey, man, you know who guards James Harden? I don't know. Because
Nobody.
Ben's going to be
That's the
stuck
thing.
on
You can
KD.
put
So.
anybody on James Harden, the same things happen.
Yeah. Who guards
So
Kyrie
that's
Irving?
JJ. You brought up a good point, which brings us to our next question.
Right.
Oh boy, and I'm going to start off with you, man. Does Ben got to go?
Here's my message to Ben Simmons. You don't got to go, but you got to step it up. It's not doing it. It's what the scoring average that he's putting out right now is not doing it. And I'm sorry, but it's an offensive minded league. So Ben Simmons does a lot of things well on the basketball court. I mean, pretty much everything else that he does is at an all NBA level. He passes at an all NBA level. He defends the ball at an all NBA level. He facilitates at an all NBA level. But right now, 12 points per game is not getting it done. That's not what a number 2 needs to do, be on a championship winning team.
Is he even averaging 12 points a game?
12.4.
Wow, that feels higher than
that
what
feels
I
a
see
little
out of
high.
him.
And Max,
that feels high, honestly.
When Daryl Morey and Glenn Rivers came into this team, they did something very quickly. They constructed a championship winning team. They didn't construct a team to lose in the second round. They got rid of the bad, brought in the good, and plugged the holes that needed to be plugged in. This team is ready to win right now. So if you're Ben Simmons, you need to be productive that's ready to win a championship right now. And the areas that everyone needs to see you going up in is what he's going down in. Everyone knew coming in he could defend at an elite level. Everyone knew coming in that he could pass the ball at an elite level. For his size, he could dribble well. For his size, he was great in transition. But what people needed to see was his scoring go up. And it's not doing that. We're watching it steadily decline. So I'm not on the boat that Ben Simmons needs to go, but I am on the boat that Ben Simmons needs to step up. And if he doesn't step up, the Sixers have to find other options, whether that's, now Tobias Harris becoming the primary second option on offense, or if that's, putting Ben Simmons in a trade package and saying we need to go get Brad Beal, or we need to go get somebody else who's on the market to come and be that scorer. But Ben Simmons is not doing it. So Ben doesn't have to go because, if you do so many things at an all NBA level, I won't say that there's no place for you on a basketball team, but if Ben Simmons wants to stay, the status quo is not doing it. What he's doing right now is not good enough. He's absolutely
all right. So I'm gonna sauce this up a little bit, and you don't need to give me the full trade package if you haven't thought about it. Give me one name we should look at if Ben Simmons is not going to step up, or if you're trading him. So off the dome.
Oh, the easiest one is Bradley Beal. That like the first one that comes to mind is that Max froze, but I'm not sure what he was going to say. But Bradley Beal is the low hanging fruit. Like Bradley Beal is clearly he's right now third in the league in scoring on a team he's clearly not happy with. You got to go get him. You got to go get him if the price tag is right.
All right. Yeah, Max, I was coming to you next anyway. So give it to me, man. Does Ben Simmons got to go? And if so, give me a name I should be looking at.
I mean, he doesn't have to go. Like the dude is still a valuable player. Like I'm not even asking him to put up a ton of points because I feel like this year we have a lot of balanced scoring options between Shake Milton being a legit 6th man of the year candidate. Tobias Harris is good for 20 a night, it seems. Steph Curry, when he plays, is 5 threes a game. It feels like guaranteed. Like, obviously, that's not completely true. But, we don't even need him to score, 22 to 24 a game. Like, even if he gets back to scoring,
16, 17, that's his all-star level. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, that's ideally what he should be at. But, just who do they play the other day? They lost by 2, and he finished with, 4 or 5 points. Like, it's not going to matter every game, but he should be a guaranteed 10 points every night strictly for how athletic he is. Like, for how much of a conscious effort the team makes to get him the ball, at all times. There's not a possession that goes by that he's on the floor where he doesn't touch the ball unless, barring the total, the things that don't happen a lot, steals off the ball or he's not involved in that have nothing to do with him. But in general, he's very much around the ball. And for a guy that is we talk about how much of a mismatch he is against smaller guys who tend to guard him on offense a lot, or if he's against a bigger guy, like he should have no issues getting the offense going. And yeah, I guess that doesn't always mean that he's going to be scoring the first 10 points of the game, but there's no reason that he should be going to halftime scoreless. That happens. It feels like it happens every third game this year that he's going to halftime scoreless or 1 for 2 for 2 points and 5 rebounds and 4 assists, which aren't bad numbers. But if that 2 points is 8 points, that's a big difference. It's a big difference. It doesn't sound like much, but it really is. Oh, and sorry, the other thing I was going to say when we were asking for names. Sorry, one other thing. Zach LaVine is the name that I had.
Good one.
Obviously,
I like that's a great
out there,
one. I like that.
But obviously,
like
the Bulls will command a lot less than the Wizards probably would.
Mm-hmm.
You might even be able to
still a big package for LaVine.
You might be able to somehow keep Ben Simmons and get Zach LaVine if you really want to.
Ooh, I don't know about that, but Josh, talk to me, man. Does Ben got to go?
Well, does Ben got to go? This is an interesting one because I think if you asked me a week ago, I would have said no. And I don't like to make a mountain out of a molehill and go all in on this Grizzlies game. But that Grizzlies game was kind of a tipping point for me for 2 reasons. And Max, you touched on it. Just he couldn't score. Like he couldn't score. And if you're the second best player playing against the Grizzlies, that's not an option. But what really did me in was down the stretch, he was being guarded by Grayson Allen. Okay. Mm-hmm. Like he was literally being guarded by Grayson Allen. He puts his back up against him around the elbow and he determines, no, I'm not going to take this guy. And he just passes the ball out. And he did that multiple times. I saw him do that multiple times. That's just always been the thing with him. He gets we always talk about, he should be big enough to score on these small guys. He should be athletic enough to get around the big guys. And he doesn't. And I can't help but feel like he's choosing not to some of the times. And the other thing was that ending pass. I mean, what the hell was that? That was someone who their mind's thinking about what they're going to eat for they're thinking about the snack. They're thinking about the Danimals he's going to be slurping down after the game. And he makes a lackadaisical
pass. Talk to me about some Danimals, man.
Yes,
talk to me about some Look, if he's thinking about Danimals, man, he never going to be focused. Let me tell you about them things, man.
But I mean, he does not look engaged. And if I'm going to be honest, I don't think it has to do with the trade. I mean, maybe the trade, it certainly doesn't help, but he's been looking like this all year. That pass at the end of the game really rubbed me the wrong way. I just think Ben's got to go. I don't think that him and Embiid, I just don't think it's working. We've been trying this for years now. I don't think it's working. Bradley Beal is my name. Of course, how can he not? That guy is an absolute game changer. But another one I'll throw out there is Victor Oladipo. And I wouldn't do Ben Simmons for Victor Oladipo straight up. I need some more in that package. But I wouldn't be against an Oladipo, PJ Tucker, maybe a pick in there also. Something like that, just because I think, right now with the big men on this team, I think you need another guy, maybe a guy like PJ Tucker who can shoot and has some size. But, Victor Oladipo is a guy I've always been high on. He has the injury problems, but I think he's more of an unknown and a bigger boom or bust there. Just another name to throw out.
All right. I guess all I'll say on the whole Ben needing to go thing, it takes different guys a different amount of time to adjust to a different system. I've always been one of those people who thinks that Ben Simmons isn't going to truly figure out his game until year 7 or 8 in the league. I get that doesn't match up with pretty much anybody's timeline for him. But unfortunately, that just kind of seems what it is. And there have been guys like that in the league before that don't figure it out until their 7th or 8th year in the league, and then they take off. So he might never become what we fully expected him to be, but you know what I mean? At this point, you can't really give up hope because what you think he can be versus what you're going to get for him are separating by the day. Hopefully Doc can figure it out because he's proven to be able to whisper to guys like Tobias. So maybe in a little bit he can become the Ben whisperer. I don't know. And 2 games real quickly. The
only thing I'm going to say to that, Banners, is like, if you want to hold out hope for Ben Simmons, you absolutely can. But the question you got to ask yourself is can Ben Simmons become what you need him to be, or what you need from that second slot in a championship window? If you think yes, if you think that window is going to stay open long enough for Ben Simmons to develop into that, you keep him and see what you can do. But championship windows don't last that long. Joel Embiid, it may not. This window, this Sixers roster that's constructed may not last that long. I think the Sixers right now are looking at a very opportunistic window to seriously contend for a championship. And role players like Seth Curry and Danny Green and Tyrese Maxey, like role players like that, start to go other places as years and years go by. Right now, the Sixers are in a window where you plug in one more piece there's the championship team. You plug in one more thing. And if you think Ben Simmons can develop into that by the time it's ready to be said and done, you keep him. But if not, you're dealing with a close 2 to 3 year window where if you hold on to him and he doesn't turn into that championship window's closing.
And that Grizzlies
I'm almost
game,
kind of looking at 2 windows, and it's unfortunate to say that. I'm almost kind of looking at 2 windows because right now, like Max was saying, I really only need like 12 to 16 points out of you to be my third guy who I can feel comfortable about being an all-world defensive stopper and my main facilitator. So at this point, if you can live with finding another two guy, and Tobias steps up and gives you 20 to 22 points a night, he's your number 2. It is what it is because we're already in a weird situation with your center being your number 1 option. So I mean, I think you got to kind of ride it out. You got to kind of ride it out, and hopefully down the road when Joel Embiid's window closes, that's when Ben Simmons' window is opening. I don't know. It's real shitty to say, but I'm just kind of being a realist. But the 2 names I would throw at you guys and see if they stick are Kyle Lowry, because I'm not the biggest fan of Lowry's game. There's a difference between drawing a foul and acting, and Kyle Lowry does a fair amount of acting. But for another ball handler, Kyle's hooping right now, so I don't think it's a bad name. They would definitely require a good amount of assets. But the other name is Will Barton. Actually, I like what
Sixers
he brings.
Killer. Sixers killer Will Barton. That is.
I'd say you're right about that. So I kind of like what Will Barton would bring to the floor. So those would be just pieces that I would add on there. We'll see. There's a long way till the deadline. Well, actually, not really, since we're in the season that we are. But we'll see what the Sixers do. We'll see what our fearless captain Daryl Morey has in store for us. Now, there's one real quick question, and I think it was Max. You alluded to this, my man, Max. I'm going to kick it off with you, man. Are you starting Shake over Ben?
Wow.
Gears are
at the
turning.
beginning of the game, no. At the beginning of the game, no. At the end of the game, I mean, I think there's room for them to both coexist. But yeah, I think that if you're needing to pick between one of them and you're down, I don't really know how you can kind of justify playing Ben Simmons over Shake Milton. If you're down 10 with 2.5 minutes to go, I don't know.
I mean, look, I'll say this. If you're seriously contemplating starting Shake Milton over Ben Simmons, then the question, does Ben Simmons got to go, answers itself. Those 2 go hand in hand in my opinion. They go hand in hand in my opinion. Ooh, okay. If you're willing to put Ben Simmons on the bench, like you said, start Shake Milton, not play at certain times. You said start.
I said no for start. For the record.
But that was the question. That was the question. And if anyone out there listening, watching our show, if they are seriously considering starting Shake Milton over Ben Simmons, the answer or the question, does Ben Simmons got to go, answers itself.
Well, that can just mean start over Ben at point guard. Doesn't mean my man has to be on the bench.
Okay. Well, that's completely different. But you said start over him. If Ben Simmons is still in the starting lineup, Shake's not starting over him.
Well, the question says should Shake start over Simmons at point guard?
At point guard, yes.
So I would say 100% yes. And then why don't we just have Simmons play power forward, and he could still bring the ball up here and there? But we compared him to Draymond Green. Why don't we just have him play the Draymond Green role? That's who he's digressing.
LeBron James role, yeah. Point forward.
The LeBron James role. I wouldn't go that far because, well, that's what we were all talking about him when he was drafted, and now here he is. But that's the Green.
I didn't say he's going to play to his level, but that's the role. The LeBron starts at the 4 or the 3 or the 4. Mm-hmm. LeBron doesn't start at the 1, but LeBron brings the ball up damn near every possession. LeBron facilitates the offense damn near every possession. We're in 2021. We're in positionless basketball. It don't matter at what point in the starting lineup what 2 syllables are next to your name. It really doesn't. Like once the game starts, I mean, Jokic is the center for Denver, and he's for all intents and purposes their point guard in the half court. Like it doesn't matter once the ball gets tipped off. It doesn't matter where you are as long as you can play your role well. So I've been saying this since Ben Simmons came into the league for the Sixers. I saw his limitations in the half court, and they needed a different point guard in the half court. And I think Shake can do that. Our show in the beginning of the season, I thought Shake could do that. I still think he can.
All right. Well, the Sixers will get back at it whenever the league and Dave Silver decide to give them a time that they rescheduled. You know what I mean? So the Grizzlies had a bit of a play it fast and loose situation with the COVID protocols, and the Sixers have now ended up on the wrong side of that, the business end of that. So we'll see. We'll see when that game is rescheduled for, but we're going to move on to our neighbors across the parking lot at Lincoln Financial Field for a quick little discussion on what seems to be transpiring there, because now it's no longer on the field. The Eagles are not in the playoffs, so now it's all focusing on what has transpired in the front office and in the coaching staff. So an article was released this weekend about Carson Wentz. He kind of outlined the ways that he is, quote unquote, uncoachable. So he described his relationship with Doug Peterson as a pissing match. Now, for anybody out there that has a job, when you are in a pissing match with your manager,
with your boss,
with your straight up boss, usually things aren't going well, and 9 times out of 10 that relationship can't really be repaired. So I mean, does this article really give any merit, and does it make you concerned about the franchise's decision to choose Carson Wentz over Doug, Josh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You all know how I felt. I was pro Doug. I was in the minority here. I was pro Doug. And last week I said I'll go into next year with an open mind, and here we are 7 days later, and that mind has been closed. That article seemed rather damning to me. I don't know if you guys read the article or not, but it was some rough stuff to me, and I'm giving it merit. And he didn't really name any sources because he said he wasn't allowed to, and I can understand why. But at one point, it said an offensive lineman, unnamed, asked Doug in the middle of the season to switch up the quarterbacks because Carson was just ducking his eyes. He was taking sacks, and I believe they said halfway through the season, 2/3 of the sacks he took, they attributed to Carson's fault. Like, it wasn't on the mismatched offensive line that everyone loved to talk about so much. So that article, last week I said I was going to go into this year with an open mind, but that was just, I mean, might be a little confirmation bias, but it was telling me everything that I was fearing. Like, if you have your questions and if you're anti-Carson Wentz, that's just such a damning article to me. Like, that is everything I'm afraid of. Uncoachable, the whole Press Taylor thing. The writing is on the wall, and they still chose Carson Wentz. Like, he's getting the LeBron treatment for someone who hasn't really won anything, I feel like.
For being Mo Williams.
Ooh.
LeBron treatment for being Mo Williams.
Yes, sir.
I think we all know who that offensive lineman was, right?
I'm not sure. Who was it?
Who was
No.
I was trying to guess.
The only guy to play the full season.
I guess it would only have to be Kelsey.
The only guy who wasn't a rookie or wasn't his first time back with the team.
The only one who would have the balls to say it, to be honest. The only one who has like the cachet to be able to say it.
Yeah, but he was having a little.
We know Jason Peters doesn't care enough to actually say that. And nobody else can say
Could have
that.
been Lane, but
without Lane Johnson wouldn't say that. I was thinking that though, but Lane Johnson wouldn't say that. I don't think Lane Johnson would say that. No, Lane Johnson was on the surgery. It was on the table for his ankle. So
he was trying to play around the middle of the year
to really look at.
I mean, that would have been around the end of it. No, I said Lane Johnson was still playing around the middle of the year, but
without naming names, I think you guys can all pick up.
I didn't even put those 2 and 2 together, honestly.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
can I just hop in really quick?
I was going to you next.
You know? Okay, perfect. So I have to agree with Josh. Like, where there's smoke, there's fire. We've been hearing about these articles for a while, haven't we? We've been hearing about these since after the Super Bowl, and Wentz has admitted to being a bad teammate and having some natural competitive jealousy of Nick Foles, which I don't think anyone would disagree is a bad thing in and of itself. But it seems like there's one thing about being competitively jealous about your teammate winning a Super Bowl. And it's another thing about, your teammate just playing over you because you're hurt, right? There's different levels to it. You can definitely be jealous that the guy took your guys and won the Super Bowl, but there's no like holding it against him. There's no benefit to making it a personal thing. And we love to kill Alshon when he went and spilled the beans to bleep this out, Josina Anderson. But it turns out maybe he wasn't as wrong as we thought, because it got him in the doghouse for a while. But if you're an offensive lineman or telling your head coach, like, you have to assume this stuff is true. Like, obviously Carson Wentz, if he ever makes a comment about it, he'll deny it. He'll say, no, this is not true. We'll find out the truth in 10 to 15 years, I'm sure. But, even if part of this is true, it's still pretty worrying. And I think, a lot of us can say we feel vindicated in the things that we've said on here, because it's very obvious that guy had no one pushing him to be better than he already was. There was nobody that was in his ear and pardon my French, up his ass about getting better at a day-by-day basis at practice, because we saw him come out and somehow get worse in his 5th year as an NFL starter and seemingly regress in the middle of a season from week 1 to when he get benched, week 11 and a half, week 12 and a half, one of the two. And there's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for that. And it was a poor foundation to begin with, because any team with a semblance of decent coaching would have never allowed that to eventually transpire.
Yeah, I mean, another thing, and on that point, they saw Doug Peterson stop meeting with him. They used to have a weekly meeting. Doug Peterson stopped meeting with him, and Banners, I'll say it, I'll give your 2-playbook theory a little bit more validity now, but what came first, the chicken or the egg now? So I don't know.
You're right, and I'll still maintain my stance on the preferential treatment, let's call it, of one quarterback over the other. Whether that's warranted, I don't think I'm in any place to say. But I think as of recently, I have made myself out to be the leader of the caravan of the Wentz wagon, and I've fallen back a couple spots in the caravan. So yeah, I'll give you that. And I don't get me wrong, I'm holding fast on that whole 2 playbooks point. But JJ, what are you thinking, man? I see the smoke coming out of the ears.
Yeah, a lot of gears are turning. I read this article very quickly, I'll admit, but I did read this article, to prepare for the episode. And it has merit. I don't want to say it doesn't have merit, because I don't think anything in that article, like Max said, is untrue. Where there's smoke, there's fire. We've seen a lot of this kind of play out in the season. But here's what I will say. I'm not sure if I read anything in that article that shocked me, anything in that article that really surprised me, anything in that article that when I read the headline that after I read the article was like, well, yeah, I knew that. Like, I didn't gasp at anything that was in that article. So I'm not sure if there should be an overreaction to anything that was read in that article. I'm not sure there should be, any kind of big, I knew this, or we made the wrong choice, or we made the right choice. This is part of a fallout. You just fired your head coach. You almost got rid of your once franchise quarterback, your big price tag quarterback. This is what happens in a fallout. You know what I mean? Ancillary articles come out. Rumors come out, gossip comes out about what was going wrong internally. But if you look at what was happening this season, you knew that these two were at odds. You knew that Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson were not on the same page. You knew, at least we did in this circle, we knew that Doug Peterson wanted a different quarterback in there. We knew that there was writing on the wall for Carson Wentz. And when you go back, Max, you talked about it 2-3 years ago, we knew that Carson Wentz struggled with certain aspects of being a leader, with being a team captain, with being coachable. That all this stuff has been documented before. So I'm not sure if we should react to an article that comes out post facto about two people being at odds. We knew that already. Don't let this re-spark a fire that has just been put out.
Man, what do you mean? He took all the white guys on the team to Wyoming to hunt. What are you talking about? He's a great leader.
You saw that. Look, and this, look, hey, and part of being a leader is speaking to your guys in their language. And I think there was only one person who really liked it. Now it's Deshaun Jackson. He just likes picking up guns, probably. Like, I don't want to cast that. Let me take that back. I don't want to cast aspersions on Deshaun Jackson.
Oh, man.
But that was documented. He was like the only one that was like, yeah, dude, that was mad fun. I don't know about everybody else. I had fun doing that. But you got to be able to, part of that is being able to speak to your guys in their language, stuff that they pick up on. I get that you have hobbies and you want to share it with your teammate, but that's one small detail of it. But everything in that article, I was reading things that was like, yeah, Carson Wentz has said that he could be a bad leader at times. I knew that. Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson, their relationship has been described as a pissing match. Yeah, I could see that. There was writing on the wall for Carson Wentz to leave. Yeah, half the Eagles fans wrote that writing on the wall. Like that was easily seen too. So there was nothing in there that shocked me. There's nothing in there that was new. This was just part of a fallout.
I think the biggest difference though between you and me is as an Eagles fan, and even as someone who was saying a lot of these things about Wentz this season, once it was over and you know they would let the chips fall where they lie, the team sided with Wentz. So as an Eagles fan, I want to go into next year with an open mind. I want to believe things will be better. And after reading that article, I have just about no hope. Yeah. Like it's little to no hope. And the other thing about that article, well, I just want to preface this by saying I do not watch The Bachelor.
Yeah.
But that was the women tell all edition of the Eagles season right there. Like the season ends and you hear all the truth.
I mean, that's what happens at a fallout, man. Details like this come out in a fallout.
I'm moving closer to the Doug side. I don't think I'll ever get fully there, but I'm moving closer because what's the one thing you always hear about Carson Wentz? He's a man of faith.
Yeah.
And that's cool. I'm going to let that be. I'm not going to go into that very deeply, but what I'll say to that is that's fine. Thump the Bible all you want, but you have a job. Okay? You have a vocation. So don't let that wrap you up and don't let that you can't let that get in the way of your job. You can't. I'm sorry. I know way too many people that do it effectively for you to drive home to Jersey every night and be a man of faith. Go see the family. You have to go to those parties sometimes. You have to have a good relationship with your teammates. You can't have the only interaction with your coach be your 5:30 Bible study in his office. Like that can't be the only level of interaction you have with everybody. And I'm not saying this to rag on anybody who's religious. I'm not. That can't be your only level of interaction with your coworkers and your bosses. I'm sorry. Me personally, I don't think that's a very healthy working relationship, especially when a franchise just signed you to be like over 35% of their maximum salary cap. Like it doesn't work out that way. You have a job, you need to get it done.
For any individual topic, right? Like religion obviously is a more polarizing one, but even if you're the guy who's happy and cheery all the time, like even that wears thin on people some days. Like you have to be a real person that is, is dynamic and knows how to respond to situations, multiple situations, not the same robotic response to everything.
Yeah. So I'm just looking for Carson to do his job. Like he hasn't come out.
I like that. I think you got something there with that. I really do.
Because we haven't even seen him come out and speak on the issue yet. Like I don't think he's like
he's not gonna.
That's
unless he's an Eagle next season. Only way.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. Just speaking on the issue. Like you have to, as a person who has a job, especially when you are the quarterback, the face of a franchise, quote unquote, you're being paid like it. He hasn't come out and spoke because he doesn't want to lie. He doesn't want to speak bad on anybody because of his faith. My man, sometimes you got to suck some things up, go out and make nice to the media because the people who sign your checks need you to. Like you can't just sit back and let everybody who let your bosses who are writing your checks just take all the heat and say, yeah, we're the ones that found out the problems with Doug, like let Doug take all the heat. Like sometimes you got to sack up, go out there, say some very vague and non-committal sentences just to appease people because that's what you get paid for.
To his credit, I think he did a little bit. We talked about how Doug tried to make Carson the fall guy and tried to make him when Carson would go up there and say, no, I've done a lot of things wrong. And we, at least me personally said that I wish I would have seen Doug take a little bit more accountability. But from this article standpoint, Josh, all three of you have spoken about, the things that come with, choosing Carson over Doug Peterson. And my closing point and pretty much my only point is you knew that you chose those things when Carson got chosen. Like when Carson got chosen, you knew that it came with, oh yeah, he kind of lost the locker room a couple of years ago. Oh yeah, he's not always the most coachable. Oh yeah, he's not always the most vocal. Oh yeah, he's not always the best leader. Like those are all that's given. That's with the Carson Wentz baggage. Now you choose Doug Peterson. That comes with a different set of baggage. But the Carson Wentz baggage was there. You knew it. So when I'm reading this article, I'm like, we know all these things already. And I hope Eagles fans didn't forget them just because we changed the new year. These things are still there.
Yeah, I need you to do your job, and you can't explain it away by saying I'm a man of faith. You know what I mean? All those things were said when Doug had a job. I need you to come out and say, hey, it was fun. Respect them. Looking forward to next year. You know what I mean? I need you to say something. I need you to, if that was my franchise QB, because I have another Bible toting white guy who is my franchise QB, but we're not going to go
Eagles,
today.
Vikings,
That's not what this
Bible
conversation is
toting
about.
franchise white QBs.
No, we're not talking about the Pizza Ranch king of the Midwest. It's not what we're doing. Okay. We're going to move on into our halftime segment. Our halftime segment's going to be fun. This is going to be right back to where we started this discussion about the Sixers, and we're going to play a rather rousing game of Would You Rather. And this is going to be real fun. This is Would You Rather. And we're going to start with Ben Simmons or Domantas Sabonis. Would you rather? JJ.
Oh, man.
Yep. This is so easy. Come on. Who made this?
Easy.
All right. I'd rather have Ben Simmons. I'm not sure if that's the easy pick that you guys, wanted to do. I'd rather have look. If I'm starting a team, I'd rather have Ben Simmons. Now, if it's for the Sixers or if it's just for me personally. Like if I'm,
I think you have it backwards. I think
if I'm starting,
team, you'd much rather have Sabonis.
Well, let me choose, man. I'm talking about your team. Talk about your team. Talk about my team. If I'm talking about me personally, I think it's easier to build around someone like Ben Simmons. Build around, like, I can find scoring options elsewhere. If I'm starting my team, if I'm asking if it's the Sixers, who would you rather? I'm taking Sabonis. But even still, Sabonis plays primarily down low. You have someone who plays primarily down low. And the problem with the Sixers has been clogging the lane. Why do you want someone down there clogging the lane for Embiid, who is your best player? But if I'm talking about, like, who would I rather, like, start my team with? I'd rather start my team with someone who passes at an all-NBA level, who defends at an all-NBA level, who is a nightmare mismatch for like 80% of the league. I can find scoring elsewhere. Like, Ben Simmons, to me, can be my point guard, can guard 1 through 5 on the floor. Domantas Sabonis can't do that. Domantas Sabonis is a very good player and is off to a very good start of this season. He might be up for most improved by the end of the season is done. But I'm still taking Ben Simmons and the skill set that comes along with that before I'm taking Domantas Sabonis. Like, I'm not just because Ben Simmons is having a lackluster year in terms of his standards doesn't mean I'm jumping ship and I'm taking Sabonis. I'm still taking Ben Simmons over Sabonis.
I agree. Josh, the one who wrote this question, Domantas Sabonis or Ben Simmons?
Why Sabonis? That's such a random, like, why Sabonis?
Well, we're talking about it, aren't we? It's got to.
You chose. I'm asking why you chose Sabonis. We're talking about it because you chose him. I'm asking why did you choose Sabonis?
Well, I would pick Domantas Sabonis over Ben Simmons. That's part of the reason I'd choose him. And I just think Sabonis, first of all, is better than everyone realizes because he plays for the Pacers and, like, they're not a team that's on TV a lot. I feel that guy's a scorer, and that guy is, like, I think he's 4th in rebounding also in the entire NBA. And, like, the Sixers don't need necessarily someone who's that good at rebounding, but it's just after how much we talked about Ben Simmons and how disappointing he is and how we wish he could score better, you got a guy like Domantas Sabonis right there. I think Domantas Sabonis is going to be like a perennial all-star for the next few years. He's been improving every single year. And I don't know. I just think you're undervaluing his skill set a little bit because he does primarily play.
We're undervaluing Sabonis.
Yeah, I'm not undervaluing Sabonis. I'm not leapfrogging him ahead of Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is second only to LeBron in creating open 3-pointers for his teammates. Second only to the best player in the world.
I think someone's undervaluing someone, but I don't know if it's us.
Like, there are way more things that Ben Simmons could do on the court. I get Sabonis brings a level of scoring that Ben Simmons is lacking in right now. Ben Simmons brings a level of wing defense, brings a level of facilitation, brings a level of passing, brings a level of mismatch that Sabonis doesn't bring.
Look, Sabonis, he's a stat sheet stuffer, and I feel like he would be a good fit right now. I would take Sabonis over Ben Simmons. Maybe it's because I'm tired of Ben Simmons, but I am firm on that.
This came out of I'm tired of Ben Simmons angle.
So Max, let me pose it to you, man. Would you rather Simmons or Sabonis?
I think JJ had it completely backwards. I personally think it.
Max,
I think Sabonis is unquestionably a better player than Simmons in a vacuum, right?
What?
I don't. For the Sixers, I think Sabonis would be a terrible fit, right? Like, him and Embiid clearly would never be able to coexist.
But one-on-one, you think Sabonis is a better overall player than Ben Simmons?
I think if we're starting a blank team and you need to pick a player, like, it's NBA 2K Ultimate Team, if that's the thing, like, I think Sabonis is probably an easier player to build your roster around. Yeah, like Like you say yourself all the time that Simmons is a point guard who can't handle the ball in a half court situation. That's a huge fault of a point guard, isn't it? Like, yeah, I understand Ben Simmons is a really, really good player in certain rights, but if you're talking about who I think is a more impactful player and who is a player that is strictly better, and let's be honest, it's an offensive league. Scoring is the most important facet of anybody's game. There's a reason that guys hold on. There's a reason that guys who score 20 a night and don't do anything else have places in the league, unlike guys who can get 10 rebounds like it's nothing. There's a big difference between being able to score and being able to facilitate, or being able to rebound at a high level, or being a mismatch, or being really good wing defender. There just is. And I think if you're trying to start, a team from scratch, I think you got to take a guy who is, exceptionally offensively talented, and already is an all-star when he's young and getting better. He's,
Ben Simmons made an all-star team before Sabonis made an all-star team.
I know, but I'm saying Sabonis is an all-star. He's made an all-star team.
And so is Ben Simmons, two of them things. And you were talking about impactful. I just named a stat that Ben Simmons is the second most impactful in, and Sabonis, I'm not sure, is the second most in any stat in the league, where you could probably find some cherry pick stat where Sabonis is second in the league.
Ben Simmons. I love that. That's a pretty cherry pick stat, you wouldn't say?
That's a cherry pick stat.
How is that a cherry pick stat? How is that creating open 3-point attempts is not a cherry pick stat? That is not a cherry pick stat. That's
Ben Simmons isn't second in the league in anything else. That's why it's cherry picked.
To me, as a primary facilitator in the full court, that's one of the best stats you can have, is that I draw so much attention and I pass the ball so well that more of my passes lead to open 3-point attempts for my team than any other person in the league besides one person. And that one person is the best player in the world. Above everybody else, I create more 3-point attempts for my team, who now is a good 3-point shooting team.
Yeah, that's
okay.
True.
I defend at an all NBA level to the point where I'm being picked as defensive player of the year preseason by a lot of people. Sabonis doesn't do that. That's influence, and that's impact on the defensive end as well. He is one of the most unstoppable players in transition in the NBA. That's impact and influence as well. That's not what Sabonis brings. That's not what Sabonis brings.
So Max and Josh, there's one word answers to this. If we're doing a fantasy draft, if we're shut everything down, fantasy draft, and you get the number 10 pick. Everybody else who obviously you're starting a franchise with is off the board. You're at the number 10 pick and you see two names, Ben Simmons, Domantas Sabonis. You're both going Sabonis over Ben Simmons, yes or no?
I mean, going into this year, no. Going into this year, I would have picked Simmons without a...
No. One word answer. Go, put it on the line. Because you're not going to sit here and explain this away. One word answer.
Simmons, because he gets more stats. This is a fantasy draft.
I no, not fantasy draft. You're the GM, that kind of format.
Like if the whole league
everyone is up for grabs. Yeah, that's what.
If you were redrafting the whole league from a roster building perspective, like in Madden, you never do a fantasy draft in Madden.
Oh, of course. Right now, today, Sabonis.
Oh my God, Max, yes or no?
Sabonis.
Oh my good God! All right,
so
I am right now. I am FaceTiming Max Gordon from Brainiac NBA on Instagram because I need banners continue the show, but I need an outside opinion because this is crazy. I didn't know if I'm crazy.
No, continue that and let us know what he says. Even you know what? If he's available, invite that man on because there's some shit talking.
Max,
going on.
Max, I love you, brother. But I don't think I've ever disagreed with you more.
I don't know. Dude, Sabonis is I can't speak. Sabonis is getting better exponentially over the last 3 years, and I just think
stagnant to regression.
Yeah, Simmons is clearly stagnant at best as a player right now in terms of his development.
So if we got that heated on a Sabonis one, this next one's really gonna mess you up. Okay, would you rather Ben Simmons or B.I. Brandon Ingram? Max, start us off.
That's a different story. That's a different story.
This is
that's a different story. That's a much different story.
Make me out to be the bad guy because I'm taking Brandon Ingram over him too.
No, I'm taking Brandon Ingram over Ben Simmons. That's a different story.
That's way easier than Sabonis.
Okay,
that's different from Domantas.
At least Sabonis is more of a outdated type of player where he's just dominant down low, and Brandon Ingram is
You're both on, you're both on that side that early. Am I missing something here? Have I not been paying close enough attention?
Look,
I just think that
I'll defend Ben Simmons
years
against
of Ben Simmons, and
Sabonis.
he's not getting any better. Like, you guys are asking me who am I starting a team with from scratch? I'm taking the guy who's averaging
most
24...
improved right now, the reigning most improved player.
Who?
Brandon Ingram.
Sabonis? I'm going back to the Sabonis thing, kind of. But yeah, Brandon Ingram's an easy one. Brandon Ingram was an easy one. That's an easy one, dude.
Yeah, no. I'm taking Brandon Ingram. The offensive skill set is too much to it. The difference between Sabonis, the guy who handles the ball, difference between Sabonis and Brandon Ingram to me is what Brandon Ingram does on the offensive end and his offensive skill set and how good he is, to me, kind of outweighs, the other stuff that Ben Simmons does better than him. To me, Sabonis doesn't do that. To me, Sabonis' offensive output doesn't outweigh what Ben Simmons does on the court, the rest of the court, that what he does better than Sabonis. Brandon Ingram is a different skill set. Brandon Ingram is a person where once he polishes his game, I think Brandon Ingram is going to be, when his generation is at the forefront, when it's him, Jason Tatum, Devin Booker, Jaylen Brown, etc., he's going to be one of the best scorers in the league. I believe that.
Isn't Ben Simmons in that generation?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben Simmons also in that generation.
Wait,
yeah.
So when we just said the same thing about if Ben Simmons polishes his game versus if Brandon Ingram polishes his game, I'm so confused.
Yeah, but Brandon Ingram's ceiling for a polished game is up here, and Ben Simmons isn't quite lower.
I disagree with that one though, Jay.
On offensive output, no. Brandon Ingram is a bucket getter. You could swing him the ball, throw your hands up, and say, "Go get me a bucket," and I'm confident that man is gonna go get me a bucket. That's different.
I mean, I'd say Ben Simmons, like in a basketball vacuum, I think Ben Simmons' ceiling is higher than Brandon Ingram. But my faith in him and my faith in Ben Simmons to reach that ceiling is just little to none at this point. I think that's the bottom line.
A realistic ceiling, like you can say, if Ben Simmons gets a working jump shot and can really improve his offense, yeah, but that's like that's unrealistic ceiling. He's not going to get a working jump shot. That's ceiling lowers.
That's the whole point of the ceiling, though.
Yeah, well, that's why I take Brandon Ingram over Ben Simmons because I think Simmons, his ceiling is higher than Ingram's, but I don't have faith in him to ever reach that ceiling. That's what
a ceiling is realistic to me. A ceiling is what he can do, not just because I think everyone hypothetically has an astronomical ceiling if they hypothetically get something.
I mean, Ben Simmons built like LeBron James.
Limitations limit that. You know what I mean? Like if Giannis got a working jump shot, he'd be the craziest player the NBA had ever seen. But I don't think Giannis is ever going to get a 35% 3-point shot, for his career. Like if you want to say that's Giannis' ceiling, then yeah, Giannis is going to be the greatest player to ever live. But realistically, that's not going to happen. So I think Brandon Ingram's ceiling is higher than Ben Simmons. We've seen where Ben Simmons can go pretty much. We still have yet to see where Brandon Ingram can go.
If you've seen where Ben Simmons, like if you've seen his ceiling already, I don't know how you did it. I'd take some bonus. Are you kidding me? If you've already seen,
I'm not going back to this. I explained.
Sounds like he's having some second thoughts,
Ben Simmons over Sabonis. I've explained it.
I can find somebody to give me 22 points, 4 boards, and 4 assists. I can find somebody to do that.
Who's that? Sabonis?
12 rebounds in the game this year
and 5.6 assists.
Ben, is that Sabonis that you just named?
No, that's Brandon Ingram.
That's Brandon Ingram?
Yeah. I can find somebody to give me 22, 4, and 4. That's all I'm saying. Like I haven't watched a ton of Brandon Ingram play basketball, but I can tell you he's not in the top 2 or 3 for defensive player of the year and doesn't pass as well as he does, as Simmons does. I'm taking Ben Simmons. I don't know how that was so easy for you guys.
But neither one of those two guys ever disappear off the face of the court when they play 24 minutes and a half.
Dude, Brandon Ingram's one of the streakiest players through the first 4 years of his career that we've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, he's been playing on
and he also took maybe the biggest leap in the NBA of anybody last year. That's what gets you most improved.
Right. I'm not saying he's a bad player.
So he's going uphill. At the right now at the highest rate of anybody in the league. He made the biggest jump of anybody in the NBA.
I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm not saying he's taken a huge leap in terms of his playing career. I'm just saying I can find somebody else to give me what he's doing.
And you can't find someone to give you 12, 8, and 7, whatever Ben said. You can't find someone to give you that?
I can, but the defense, the passing, just like your reasons for taking Ben over Sabonis.
That's why.
Okay. What I mean? I can find somebody to give me Brandon Ingram's offensive output. I can't find anybody else to do what Ben Simmons does in the rest of the facets of the game. I'm going Ben Simmons both times. I feel like I don't know why I'm being made to feel crazy for doing that. And Max, I'm shocked. I'm disappointed.
I mean, it sounds like you're like married to Ben Simmons. It sounds like we could throw a lot of all-stars out to you.
Are we not? Are we not married to Ben Simmons here?
No, he was just about to get set out. If the Rockets didn't call the Sixers back, Ben Simmons is wearing a Rockets jersey today.
You're all weak. My God. The last would you rather, and I actually like this.
There's another one.
We did a little bit of role play beforehand in pre-show prep, and I'm gonna give you my best my best version of an Italian guy. I'm gonna give it to you right now. Okay, I'm gonna give you 2 letters. You only get 2. You get 2. I'm only gonna give you 2. You get JT. You get DJ. Okay, JT Real Muto. You get DJ LeMahieu. Okay, I'm gonna give you 2. You only get 2. You only get 2 letters. JJ, who you going? JT, DJ, go.
JT. I think finding a defensive catcher that's
okay.
going to mow down pretty much everyone who tries to steal on him and cut down a lot of base runners, take a lot of runs off the board, and also can give you, damn near 300 at the plate, can give you, 25 to 30 home runs in a given season and 80 plus RBIs. I think it's great from the catcher position. I'm taking JT.
Okay, Josh, who are you taking?
I'm not so high on this JT guy as much as JJ. No, I mean, I like JT, don't get me wrong, but let's talk about the contracts here, because I think that's a big part of this, at least in my eyes, because the Phils, the reported offer was 5 years, $100 million, and DJ LeMahieu just got signed for 6 years, $90 million. And I know JT is valued much higher because he's a catcher. I'd go with DJ here. What's that?
You're making this over
10 million, 10 million and another year. So I can't do the quick math on what that rounds out to per year.
For baseball, that don't matter, man.
Yeah, there's no
10 million another year. That's not gonna make a difference.
Hey, with John Middleton's pockets, he's not willing to spend the big numbers, so I don't know. And for me, I think DJ LeMahieu, he might be one of the best hitters in all of baseball. And I get JT Real Muto BCIB, which I think it's kind of indisputable because of his defense. He is the best catcher in baseball, but I think for those contracts and when the season starts, JT is going to be 30 for a catcher. I'm a little bit skeptical about signing JT, and I get why they're doing it. They kind of have.
Yachty's 65.
I think Yachty's overrated, but I take DJ. I take DJ given the choice.
All right, Max, two digits. Who are you taking?
I will say JT because catcher is an infinitely more valuable position for the intricacies of the game compared to second base. Second base is the right field of the infield. So,
and a poor fielding second baseman at that.
Yeah.
So I'm also DJ LeMahieu is the best pure hitter in baseball. Mike Trout's the best player in baseball, but you look at DJ LeMahieu's bat. There's nobody else that's right next to him. I'm still going JT though. Mainly I'm going to make it a little bit of a homer bias here. You can't not take JT. Giving up the next Pedro Martinez, pretty easy for me. You need to retain JT or else you kind of want to kill yourself when thinking about it. So yeah, I think it's easy for me. Again, second base, you're completely right, Max. You can find somebody to play the keystone. The right field of the infield. That's
tough because I was a second baseman. That was my position, and I've actually never heard anyone call it the right field of the infield. So
that was something I just made up.
Not bad.
No, but it's true. But it kind of.
I played right field. I played right field my first year playing like organized base. I played T-ball when I was like 4 turning 5. Then I did organized baseball one year when I was like 13. I got placed in right field because I was, all my other teammates were my friends growing up who played baseball from 5 to 13, right? So they were way better than me. So I got stuck in right field because I sucked. So I just know that, second base is the least important of the infield. So honestly, it's almost disrespectful to second base to call it right field, but
that's a middle infield position, man. Like
that's what I'm saying. It's a little bit disrespectful, but
Here's what I
want to say. You don't got many options.
Here's what I want to say for that segment. Josh Safran, I'm calling you out because that segment was just a place for you to kind of air out like Philly players that you're kind of tired of or you think you can let go of. That's what that was. I'm not sure. Like you pinned Ben Simmons against Domantas Sabonis and Brandon Ingram, and then pinned JT Realmuto's contract against DJ LeMahieu's contract. 3 situations that Philly fans are never going to have to differentiate. Like we're never going to have to deliberate whether we need Ben Simmons over Domantas Sabonis or Brandon Ingram or JT Realmuto over DJ LeMahieu. But there's some reason that like you needed a grievance to get off about JT, you needed a grievance to get off about Ben Simmons, and this was a way for you to do that. I see right through you, Doc Lock. I see right through you.
Hey, I had 2 people pick Sabonis, so.
Oh, whatever.
I mean, you only had one person. You don't get to count yourself when you made it.
And everybody keep quiet about Max calling second base the right field of the infield. Nobody.
I'm not going to get over that.
Let's act like we aren't live for all of our viewership right now because that was a pretty spicy take.
Hey man, look, if that offends you, you get to make fun of me. I was the right fielder. I was the worst player on the
team. We're going to move into rapid fire, and it is going to be our championship round pick'em, gentlemen. So we have gotten to the point where we are now in the AFC and NFC championship games respectively. So yeah. And JJ, we're staying in the NFC first, man. All right. We're staying with the team that has a chance to play the first home Super Bowl in the history of the NFL. Now, the Buccaneers are first to get back to Tampa for the Super Bowl. They got to go to Lambeau Field, where I have checked in that historically crappy stadium out there. It is supposed to be there's a 60% chance of snow. Now, keep in mind, I'm not biased against the Green Bay Packers in any way. I just don't like the stadium. So the Buccaneers versus Packers right now, the line comes in at 3.5 for the Packers, and the over-under is at 51. So, JJ, tell them about us.
Y'all see what my defense was able to do against one of the best offenses in the league this year? Y'all see how we were able to shut down one of the best receivers, 4 targets.
Oh, take some respect off his name.
You know what I mean? 4 targets.
Michael Thomas can
0 catches out of that game. Picked off Drew Brees 3 times. Y'all saw what my defense was able to do. We locked them ready to go. We locked them ready to go. Give me Buccaneers all day, every day. I'm riding with my squad till the very end. Fire them cannons all over the damn field. I'm ready to go.
Let's do it. Surprise. Josh, how you feeling, Doc Lock?
Oh, the bad man. I got to go with the bad man. I mean, it's the bad man. It's Lambeau.
Is it the bad man, Josh? Because is it the bad man? Is that who that is?
It's the bad man. And I'm going with a TB12 versus the bad man, number 12. I'm going with the bad man. I'm sorry, JJ. And I think it's going to be a close game. I don't know what Doc Lock's going to do with any of these spreads. They're really scaring me. But come on. Bad man and Lambeau. Last dance, last chance. Give it to me.
Well, Max, 3.5 points for the Pack and over under 51. What's it telling you?
Oh, man, this is tough because, on one hand, I definitely do just want to irrationally pick against JJ. But on the other hand,
I know he does every week. I know.
But on the other hand, like I don't want to be a hater. But on the third hand, that I have yet to grow, I do think the Packers will win this game, and I have the score of 34-28 just drilled in my mind for some reason. So that's what I'm gonna roll with. Packers 34-28.
Y'all do remember that the we are one of the 3 losses the Packers have this season.
Oh, I know. I think that it'll be a good game.
I remember that loss.
And the score of that game was 35-20, which is why that might be drilled in your head, Max. Which is weird that you said 34-20 because I'm pretty sure we won 35-20.
Yeah, I was actually about to bring that up.
34-28 was the score I have in my brain.
Okay. I was going to bring that up. The Pack have already lost to the Bucks, and this isn't one of those scenarios where it's damn hard to beat a team 3 times in a year.
Agreed.
This is you're playing a team twice, completely separate, not in division, and the Rams. I was wrong about the Rams, but I don't. You saw yesterday that the Bucks. They played good defense. They relied on the run when they needed to. Fournette's looking great still. Had another strong game. Rojo had a good game. It's going to be a cold game. It's going to be nasty weather in Lambeau in January. I think they pound the rock, and I
on
think
the backs again.
I think they pound the rocks. Darius Smith is up in the air. They're injured in that linebacking core, and their front seven's not good to start with. Preston Smith is a shell of himself anymore. I just think they pound the rock, and then outside of Jair Alexander, I mean, are you really going to tell me that you're going to stick Kevin King on Chris Godwin and feel good about yourself for a whole afternoon? That's not even getting down to Antonio Brown and Scotty Miller. And granted, I was wrong about that Scotty Miller game, but I'm riding it again this week. It's a Scotty Miller game.
I was wrong about the Antonio Brown game. I thought it was going to be the Antonio Brown game.
I thought it was going to be the Antonio Brown game.
Yeah, he had one catch.
I'm sticking with it this week. The NFC Championship game, Scotty Miller game. Book it.
Do it.
Props.
Now,
stick to your guns.
We shift over. What's up?
What? Oh, the only thing I was going to say is what I am worried about is the Saints and Packers have a different style of offense. The Saints are, the dink and dunk, death by 1,000 cuts, which kind of worked to our advantage because we never got stretched down the field. But we are susceptible to big plays.
That's what I'm worried about. Winfield Jr. back there, brother. You're cool.
Twan got me.
By the way,
too.
Shout out to that young man. Did anybody see the Instagram post that he put up today?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's after he punched the ball out from Jared Cook, and he goes, that's for my pops back in 2009, and I have never respected a young man more than at that very moment. So Twan, keep doing your thing down there. I wish you could have stayed at home, but I'm glad the Bucs got you down in Tampa. So we're gonna move right on to the AFC. JJ, I'm gonna come back to you with this one, my man. Buffalo versus Kansas City. In the line, we got 3 points for Kansas City, over under sitting at 54.
Yeah, I think the line is assuming, Vegas is assuming, that I'm going to assume that Patrick Mahomes is going to be good to go for this weekend. If not, this is a pretty easy pick. But, for the sake of having it be fun, I'm going to stay. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go the Bills. I'm going to go the Bills because, look at how the Bills are playing football right now. Look, they're just name a flaw. Name something that they've been doing wrong. You can't. They don't run
the ball ever, but
they don't run.
They run the ball ever.
About to say they can't run the ball.
But you don't need to against the Chiefs defense. You don't need to. You can pass all up and down the Chiefs defense, I believe. And Patrick Mahomes and that offense haven't been putting out the scoring outputs that people are used to having to put up these gaudy numbers to beat them. The Bills, they're playing good defense. Josh Allen's playing great. That offense is hitting on all cylinders. You're right, Max. They don't run the ball as much as maybe they need to, or as much as maybe quote unquote they should. But there hasn't been an opportunity presented to them that said the Bills need to run the ball better. They've been playing just fine without it. They've been hitting on all cylinders without it. And there's a team that's riding a lot of momentum, and there's a team who just inched by the skin of their teeth this weekend to win their playoff game. And their star quarterback is up in the air. I'm going Bills.
Josh Saffron.
Yeah,
you betting on Chad Henne?
Not the Chad Henne experience. No siree. But
anything is possible.
Assuming Patrick Mahomes plays, and I feel dirty picking against the Bills for the third straight week. It doesn't feel good. But as Patrick Mahomes is playing in the playoffs, I don't think I could ever see myself picking against the guy. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. The spread, on the other hand, as I said, different story. That 3, I think this is going to be a good game. I don't think I'm going to touch that 3, but I think I'm going to go with the Chiefs. And what do we think about that over-under? I mean, it's got to be a shootout, right?
I don't know. 54 seems kind of right to me. I'm staying away from both of them, though. This is a money line pick for me.
Yep, that's what I was thinking. 2 money lines, nothing more, nothing less.
Max, $8 million.
I hate to pick against the Bills. I really do. You guys know I've been riding Josh Allen all year, but I don't know if you guys saw this, but Patrick Mahomes wasn't ruled out with a concussion. Apparently, he had a nerve tweaked, and that's kind of why he was all noodle-legged at first. And it was he had a nerve jammed, and it was kind of.
Did they not report in game that it was a concussion? I thought they
said he was he was tested for a concussion, but he was just out. He wasn't put in concussion protocol.
Gotcha.
As far as I'm aware, he just has to. I'm pretty sure. I don't think he has to pass.
It's a pass, like a nerve test. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think he was officially put in the NFL concussion protocol. So,
No, they couldn't put their best product and risk him
I
being
mean,
out for the AFC Championship.
I was literally just thinking about, do I go down the whole, throw out there, maybe the Chiefs will have a COVID outbreak and maybe we play this on Monday night instead of Sunday night. You never know, kind of deal. But I think I'll take the Chiefs. I think the Bills are a good enough team where the Chiefs are gonna just barely scrape by. Like, I think that 3 points is as true as it gets. I think this is a straight push all the way. Like, I think that the Bills are. I think that there's going to be a period of time where we really think the Bills are going to win this game, and then we remember the Chiefs came back from double digits in all 3 of their playoff wins last year, and there's a reason they're the best team in the league. So I hate to do it. I really, really hate to do it, but I'm going to have to take the Chiefs here by a very, very thin margin.
Yeah, that was where my head's at. I mean, that Texans game last year for in the playoffs, just they haven't had to put up the numbers they did last year because they haven't been pushed. You know what I mean? It's I can't for the life of me bet against Patrick Mahomes. I just can't do it. I
just want to say really quick, I'm sorry, I have to interject here because I forgot to mention it in my spiel. I did say many, many weeks ago that there's only one team in the AFC that could give the Chiefs fair run for the money, and I said the Bills, and I got a lot of resistance from my companions here. So quick round of applause for me. But yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think you were exactly right though, Max, when you said there's going to be a point in time where we think the Bills are going to win this game. But I'm still, I got to ride with Patrick. And it's Patrick, not Pat or Patty. It's Patrick.
It is Patrick.
Okay? Patrick. It's Patrick.
His mother said so. When the mother says so, you listen.
Exactly. Either way, I think this is going to be a great weekend of football. I'm very, very much looking forward to this. I think this is, I actually, you know what? Side question, gentlemen, what's your favorite week of NFL football playoffs? Me personally, I'm a divisional round guy. I think that's the best weekend of football. Usually this week, a little bit of a letdown in some of the games. But usually divisional round is the best weekend for me.
Can we not say Super Bowl? Like, can we?
You can take any week. You can take any week of the playoffs.
I mean, I get there's more games than other week, but like, if I'm most hyped for the Super Bowl every year, like it's just. I think the Patriots Rams is the only Super Bowl in recent memory that I was not excited to watch.
Yep,
that was it.
Josh, what weekend of playoff football you like?
It's Super Bowl. It's just it's a special lore. It's like a holiday almost for football.
Yes. All right.
Max, are you riding Super Bowl too?
No, I'm not. I actually was going to say the divisional round. I love the full slate of games. It's like not like I like the wild card. The wild card round is just usually, there's usually
one really good
Usually
game.
It's boring. This year's wild card round was pretty good, but usually there's like at least one boring game.
The wild card round they're going at weird times too. It's like a Saturday 1:40 game.
That is also an issue. The divisional round are nice. You get the 3:00, 6:30 both days of the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Sunday night football where you're up till 11:30 to midnight. It's it's not the 1:00 games. You have enough time to kind of build that. Like that 3:00 kickoff is special.
It's perfect. Yeah,
like
it's a good slot.
3 to 6:30. Like the
kickoff,
NFL saves those kickoff times for important games. Like if you're kicking off at 6:30, it's like, oh shit, we got a 6:30 game. Like that's a big deal. So I'll give the NFL for me.
I'll give the NFL credit. The Super Wild Card weekend was better than I thought it would be. Granted, we all know it was for money reasons. But I'll give them credit. It was better than I thought it would be, but it's just, to me, the divisional round is the best week of football. It usually has the best games. So that's actually interesting. Two divisional rounds, 2 Super Bowls. I like it, but we're going to move right into Tap House before we close the show. I guess I'll go first. So today, Joe Biden was in, big PHL. He was down at, Phil Abundance in South Philly on Patterson Ave, doing a little charity work a couple days before inauguration. And I don't know about you guys, I'm just hoping, and excuse my language, but I'm hoping and fucking praying nothing goes down. I just want to get this over with. I want to move on. I want to leave all of this worry in the background, focus on making 2021 the best it can be for me and my business and this show. Because I'm fucking drained here, boys.
Yeah. Hey, I echo the sentiment and the explicitives as well. I mean, the president who's in office right now is not going to attend the inauguration. So if that's not a microcosm of what needs to happen of, hey, I don't need a smooth transition. I just need you to get the hell up out of here. That's okay with me. That's okay with me. I agree.
Yeah.
I'll go next for tap outs. Kind of along the same, serious note that you introduced us on, Banners. I hope everyone realized what today was, who today was in celebration of and remembrance of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. If you didn't, shame on your school system, but the fact that many had off work and off school today, should note the fact, and I hope you took time today, if not almost every day, to really educate yourself on the life that this man led, the legacy he left, and the lessons that he tried to leave behind, and that we're still following today. So I'm not going to go into, what his life meant and everything, because that's for you to really research on your own to fully grasp. My point is that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in 1965. And when you see, many of these, many of these pictures, many of these memories and history books, they're in black and white. It paints the picture that this happened so long ago. This is in America's ancient past. Many of our parents on this show were born in that year. Many of our grandparents were very much like into their late, 20s and 30s during that year. This was not that long ago. The history of segregation in America isn't ancient. This isn't something that, is something our forefathers had to deal with and is behind us now. And I hope that more and more pictures get to surface of color, more and more color videos get to come out, to let America know that this is not so far behind us and we still have so much work to do. We can't just put this in our past and forget about it. So remember Dr. Martin Luther King today and every day, and the wise words and the lessons that he tried to leave. And remember that this isn't so far behind us that we can forget about it and think everything is good. We got to continue to work to carry out the vision and the dream that he set forth for us. So, happy birthday, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Thank you for everything you did. We remember and celebrate you today.
Love it. Gentlemen, who goes next?
And Josh, you got something or no? I got something.
Go ahead, Max.
Just going to do a quick PSA for everybody out there who's maybe around our millennial age. If you still have your old collectible cards, whether they're sports or if they were Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic the Gathering or any kind of card that you may have collected as a kid. Turns out that with everybody being stuck inside all the time for the last 10 months has really made the interest in those kind of collectibles go up. So if you have anything chilling in an old binder, make sure you go try and dig that up. I actually had my parents go on the search for my old Pokemon cards binder, and I think we may have found our winner here, boys. So we're gonna have to dive deeper into that. I will provide a follow-up down the line, but
I need updates because I got some Magic. I got some. You talked about the game Magic. Yeah, I got some Magic cards laying in the tuck that, if we making money, we making money.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. It turns out that if you have good quality old cards, like they can be worth some decent coins. So, I mean, I have no idea. I could have $0 in there. I could have some hits in there because I know that, my prime of collecting Pokemon cards apparently was right when they came out in America. They came out in America in 1999 when I was a right 5 years old and already had Pokemon Yellow for my Game Boy. So, I'm hoping I got some winners in there, probably have follow-up down the line at some point, but this is just a PSA for anybody who might be a similar situation for me where you put that stuff up in a storage container many, many years ago when you went out to college or moved out of your parents' house for the first time, or, you guys moved houses and never unpacked it or anything like that. Go dig it up, go see what you have. Maybe there's a hidden gem in there somewhere.
Love it. I'm gonna go quote unquote visit my mom soon. See what's in the basement. Josh Safran.
Yeah, I mean, not a big tap out or anything. Just quick shout out to Temple for they're trying to you guys don't need me to tell you pandemic sucks, and we're all trying to get through it and get back to normal. We're going back to some in-person classes at Temple. And for people who are going to be in person, we have to get tested twice a week. And I just shout out Temple for giving us free testing twice a week. It's so expensive everywhere else. Yeah. It's just crazy. And
that is huge.
We got tested for free twice a week right there. And then, there's a lot of bones to pick with colleges, but I thought it was a good idea. And I'm just glad I can get tested twice a week for free.
I heard they might also have a first round of vaccines for you guys too. Is that true?
Really? I did not hear about this. I don't know.
I heard
Maybe
it wasn't the Pfizer vaccine. I think it was the second or third one that was made. I would look into that.
I'll have to look into that. That might be for medical students or something like that. But
that might be good. That's a good point. Yeah.
Definitely look into that now that you mention it.
Yeah. No, but all right, gentlemen, it was a good show. That was fun. We got a good weekend of football upcoming. The Flyers are on now. I don't have a score update on that, but
give me 1 second.
We'll let you go get an update for yourself and hop on the broadcast. But as always, thank you for joining us. We're brought to you by My New Philly, where something's always new and everything's
always Philly, baby.
Flyers down 1-0 after first period. Here's your score update.
Fired them up.